In one of the conversations I had with the president, he told me that, look, I have no succession plans. I said, Mr. President, you must be interested in your successor. He said, no, the democratic process will produce a successor. I said, no, sir, it doesn't quite work like that. You must have a thought, you must advert your mind to your legacy and who will preserve your legacy. And he said, okay, you have a point, I will think about it. So this was how we began the conversation. But throughout my conversation with President Buhari, up until I believe it was 2020, he did not even have a position. Then in 2020, I asked him a question. I said, look, where do you want your successor to be from? You don't have to anoint anyone. You don't have to pick anyone. I know how you think. You believe in this democratic process. You were converted from being a military dictator to a democrat when you saw the collapse of the Soviet Union without firing a shot. He has told us this story several times. And he said to me, Nasir, why are you asking me this question? After 8 years as president, the next president of Nigeria, under our arrangement, our unspoken arrangement, must be from the south. I said, thank you, Mr. President. Can I go public with this? And he said, go ahead. People would recall that late in 2019 or early in 2020, I was the first governor to come out and say that the next president of Nigeria must be from the south. And so, to be fair to Mr. President, he has been consistent in private conversations, even in conversation with some of us as a group. He always said, my next successor has to be from the south. So it was not very difficult for those of us in the APC, particularly the northern governors, to say this is the president's position and we don't need to go back to him. But what happened as the political process started was all kinds of games being played to take control of the party in a way to achieve a certain predetermined conclusion that was not very clear to us at the time. But one of the things that we pushed, and I must say that the Progressive Governors Forum mandated me at a point to go to the president and say, we want you to tell us who you want as chairman of the party. Of course, as usual, the president said, look, why not all of them come out and we vote? We said, no, Mr. President, pick the chairman you are comfortable with. We will all support you. And he said the chairman should be from North Central. And finally, he said Senator Abdullah Adamu. We agreed. Now, once that decision was taken, it was a very clear signal that the next president would be from the South. And so what we did was to say, okay, the current chairman, the last chairman of the party was from South-South, now is going back to North Central, so we flip all positions, South-South go to North Central, North Central go to South-South. That's how we did the rezoning of positions. So having established the leadership of the party and the chairman is Northern, it was simply logical for us that the next president will be from the South, and we were all looking at limiting the competition among the aspirants to picking a Southern candidate. What was of concern to us was at a point when some governors and some senior members of the party from the North began to get calls from some elements in the villa, nudging them to buy forms to contest the presidency. That began to worry us. So some of us went back to the president, Mr. President, what's going on? The president said, my position has not changed. So there were people that wanted President Buhari, believe it or not, outrageous as it may seem, there are people that were planning within our party for another northerner to succeed President Buhari. And for us as northern APC governors, we had to sit down, look at this situation, look at what we believe our forefathers would do. We are northerners. We are people of honor. We keep our words, and we respond to kindness with kindness. This is the culture, the political culture in the north. This is what Sir Ahmad Bello Sadon of Sokoto practiced. This is what Tafa Aliyu practiced. This is what Aminu Kano practiced. This is what J.S. Tarka practiced. And we talked to ourselves and said, we cannot allow this to make headway. We have to take a position. And all of us, including Governor Badaru of Jigawa, who was encouraged by those elements to buy a form, took the decision that the presidency must go south. We sent a delegation to the president to reaffirm that, and we made it public. That was the second step. The third step was, okay, now among the Southerners, who? Can we come to a consensus around who to support, or do we all go to the primaries? Because some of us supported Amechi, some supported Osinbajo, some supported Asiwaju, and so on and so forth, and Fayemi. So again, we had to have other rounds of discussions. Of course, we couldn't come to agreement, all of us, because, I mean, one of us, Yahaya Bello, was running, and he wasn't going to step down. But still, the momentum was from the Northwest. The Northwest governors, along with Senator Wamako, who represented Sokoto, met, and after several meetings and back and forth, we decided that we'll go with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a zone. And once that decision was made, Northwest had the momentum, Northeast followed, and North Central also followed to a large extent. And that's how we went to the convention quite confident that, you know, Asiwaju will have the numbers and the momentum. But we were even shocked by the margin, because it was not only the northern APC governors that supported him, but you can see he had support across the country. And he emerged as a national candidate overwhelmingly. And I want to assure you, as we speak today, all the 22 APC governors, including those that contested for the presidency, are solidly behind this presidential candidature of Asiwaju, and we are doing all we can to ensure it succeeds. But for us as northern governors, it was a matter of honor. It was a matter of just doing what is right. It's a matter of doing what is fair. And it's a matter of doing what is just. And
I heard you clearly. It means that the story that we were told, that the Senate president was the choice of the president, was not correct after all.
Well, we had that too. The members of the National Working Committee called us and said that the national chairman had told them that the Senate president is the anointed one. And again, the northern APC governors asked for a meeting with the president. We went to the president. We said, Mr. President, this is what we are hearing. This is not what you have been telling us in the past 2 to 3 years. Is it true? And the president expressed shock and said, I am not part of this. And right there and then he summoned Garba Shehu to issue a statement that he has not anointed anyone. And he told us very clearly, I have not anointed anyone. Go and bring me 5 Southerners, 5 candidates from the South, and I'll pick one. And we went back as progressive governors now together, not northern APC governors, but as progressive governors, we met and came up with the names of Vice President Osinbajo, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Governor Rotimi Amechi, Governor David Umahi, and Governor Kaide Fayemi. We took these 5 names to him and said, we believe that any one of these can be a veritable successor to your legacy. They are all former governors, they know how to run institutions, they know how to run states, and so on, and we can work with them. Pick anyone, Mr. President, we will support that person. Now, most of us have our preferences, but we will defer to you because of the love and respect we have for you. And please don't doubt this. All of us have great respect for the president because we know his heart, we know his intention. He's a man of great integrity, and he has the best of intentions all the time. He could be misled, he's human, but the intention is pure. So we went to him and we gave him the 5, and he said, look, you know, these 5, you've made very good choices. I've worked with all of them. They are all excellent. Any one of them can be president. Now you put me in a quagmire. We said, what's the quagmire? Just pick one. Close your eyes and pick one. He said, no, they are all my brothers or children. Let the democratic process produce the winner. And that's how we went to the primaries. The attempt to force a consensus around one person failed, because the president insisted the democratic process must produce a person. Now, Again, I'm back to those elements in the villa. They were the ones that wanted that candidate, and they didn't even have the courtesy to call us as governors and tell us this is what we want, so that we can have a discussion on the matter or even give our own views. But we didn't matter. We didn't matter. It was convenient to hide behind the president's name and say the president said, as if we cannot go to the president and ask him. And this is their modus operandi. The president said. Now, people like me that can go to the president and say, Mr. President, I was told this, did you say it? Are the most hated. Because I have that relationship with the president, I can always go to him and speak directly. And this is why I'm the enemy of most of them, along with some of us.
Excellency, some years back, you complained about some elements in the same Aso Rock, some of them that were originally in the PDP, or perhaps they are even still in the PDP. In an interview that you granted Sunday Trust also at that time, the president's wife has also complained about some of these elements and the fact that they were making it difficult for the president to proceed at the right pace to guarantee Nigeria's growth and development. Many people have also said that some of these elements are openly working for the candidate of the PDP. The governor of Rivers State said about 3 months ago that the candidate of the PDP was being led to believe by people in the villa that he will be elected president of Nigeria. Don't you think it's about time that these elements who are trying to cause your party to be hated by Nigerians are unmasked?
Look, unmasking them is not as joyful as defeating them. They will be unmasked in time. But we have defeated them when they wanted their own people in the National Working Committee of the party. We have defeated them when they wanted their own anointed person to be the presidential candidate without due regard to due process or even respect for those of us that are governors that have slaved to put this party together, campaign for it, and deliver the election twice. Okay? We didn't matter. We are governors, we have problems. Governors are corrupt. Governors are bad. Governors, everything is governors. Meanwhile, none of them has contested an election as councillor. And if they did, they won't win. I have been elected twice with over 1 million votes as governor of Kaduna State. I can claim to speak for the people. None of these people can. We'll come to the unmasking stage. This is not the stage. The stage now is to draw the attention of Nigerians that there are elements that are doing this and they don't mean well for our party. They want to incite voters against our party so that we lose the elections. Now, once Nigerians know that, then they will know where some of these funny decisions are coming from. And once the election is done and settled, by the grace of God, in about 3 weeks, and I'm confident, and we are not sleeping. We are going to work hard from today, flat out, until 27th, when all the elections results are out, and by the grace of God, Asiwaji is elected and our other candidates of the APC, then we will unmask them. But this has been an ongoing issue, and you know, we just feel that some of these things that are being, you know, thought of and clothed with good intentions, and dummies being sold to the president so that the electorate will be incited, the people of Nigeria will be inflicted needless pain at this point, in addition to all the other challenges that they are facing, just so that they will, you know, revolt and say, look, we'll vote for the other party. It is clear. And if you read the statement coming from the other party yesterday, after I spoke about the need to look at the time granted for this currency swap, we're not against the policy, okay? Cashless is the way to go. We have no problem with it, but you don't do it in a few weeks. Allow time for every farmer, trader, student, market woman in the village and in the cities to be able to take their money to the bank and get new currency, or where they are doing their business, take the bullion van there with security, change their money and give them. Don't say that POS, I have a map of Nigeria with blind spots where there is no network. POS won't work there. It's not everywhere that you have bank branches. It's not everywhere you have POS working. So let's sit and look at this thing and find out the reasonable time that it takes to do this. And even the Central Bank Act that gives the president the power to issue to the central bank directives regarding currency design said that reasonable time must be given before the currency ceases to be legal tender. The question is a few weeks reasonable time in a country of 1 million square kilometers and over 200 million people? How many bank branches are in Nigeria? How many ATM machines? We have only 23,000 plus ATM machines in Nigeria. How many bank branches? In Borno State, there are only 2 local governments out of 27 with a bank branch. In Yobe, 2 local governments out of 17 with bank branch. Even a cosmopolitan state, relatively in the north, like Kaduna, has 2 local governments that have no bank branches and about 10 that have only 1 bank branch. So everyone in that local government must come to that 1 branch? And this POS that you are seeing in every street of Lagos, do you think you have POS in every street of Kubau and Ikara and Makarfi, which are local government headquarters in my state? You don't.
Your Excellency, the statement issued by the PDP presidential candidate says it is those who are trying to rig the election that are asking for an extension. Now, look, the other part of the thing is, the other part of my question is, the president has not been attending some of the presidential campaigns and is sending the wrong signal that he does not want Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to win. He promised to be in Ogun State, he did not go. He promised to be in Kwara, he did not go. What is the relationship, how cordial, how chummy is the relationship between Asiwaju and the president at this time?
Okay, let me answer the first part of your question. First, the fact that the presidential candidate of the PDP, who last week was issuing statements appealing for extension because he wanted to gain sympathy, because the policy was hurting APC and he wanted to gain sympathy. And we didn't want to come out and speak against our party and our president and our CBN governor. But this week, because of a mere extension of 10 days, he's turning around to say that don't extend, means there is something. He is clearly benefiting from this pain that Nigerians are going through. Every day, till today, I have seen protests in Lagos. I have reports of people in Kaduna that cannot buy food and they cannot sell because there are no currency notes around. But the presidential candidate of the PDP is saying, don't extend, because he is gaining from it. The incitement of people against the APC is, in his view, to his advantage. And this incitement is stronger in the north, in northern Nigeria, where Atiku hopes to benefit from. That's one. Secondly, you should know that the presidential candidates of other parties, other than NNPP, have very close relations with some banks, and they even own some of them. So they can get the currency while we can't. So this is why he's saying this. And I want Nigerians to understand very carefully how someone who last week was saying extend it is now saying don't extend. What is there about extending the time for market women and villagers and fishermen to exchange their currency that amounts to rigging election? If Atiku Abubakar or anybody is talking about, oh yes, if you extend, there will be vote buying, is Naira the only currency that you can buy votes? You can go across to Niger and buy safer CFA franc. If the dollar is too big, you can go across and buy CFA franc and use it. And CFA franc, after elections, can be converted into Naira, the new currency. So that's not a solution to vote buying. The vote buying argument is just hiding behind one finger. When you don't have your facts, you don't have your logic correctly, you get something absurd and hide behind it. Naira is not the only currency to do vote buying. You can use any currency. You can use dollar.
So there are a lot of, away from this CBN policy now.
Sorry, let me answer. Let me go to the second part of your question, okay, and then you can ask me. Now, it is not true that President Buhari is not attending our rallies. The first major rally we had was in Jos Plateau State. That was the inaugural. He was there, and he spoke well. And he said, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is his Khalifa, is his successor. That was Jos. After that, the next big rally we had was Kano. And I saw the president, I said, Mr. President, you are not in Kano. Kano is your place. People of Kano love you. He said, I was not invited. I was not scheduled. That was when we now went to the campaign council and had him scheduled for Adamawa, for Yobe, and in Adamawa, he not only raised Asiwaju's hands and said, this is my successor, this is my Khalifa, and we are lucky as a party to have him as a candidate because of the great things he did in Lagos, and so on and so forth. He said the same thing in Yobe. Yes, he was supposed to go to Kwara, but an international engagement made him to leave, and he couldn't go to Kwara. And he asked the vice president to represent him, but the vice president had a conflict too and couldn't go. I don't know what happened about Ogun, but on the day he was supposed to be in Ogun, he was somewhere else. I think he was in Kano or Katsina or Jigao or something else. So there was a mix-up. It is not true. President Buhari gave birth to the APC, along with Asiwaju Bola Tinubu and Ogbonaya Onu and some people. He will never work against the APC. He will never do that. He may not go out of his way to help us like other presidents used to do, rig elections for their party. He has that integrity. He will not lift a finger to give us an advantage, but he will never work against us. It is not true. It is those elements that are doing these things and using his name. I know Buhari well enough to swear by the Quran and by the Almighty God, and I'm a Muslim, that he will never be part of that. None of them even has the audacity to even approach him on the subject. And President Buhari will go to other campaign stops. You will see going forward, but you have to understand he has the primary responsibility of running the country. And as president of Nigeria, it is his job when he speaks as president to say that, you know, I will do everything to make sure there is security, level playing field, and so on. But when he is with us as an APC leader, he endorses our candidates. He praises Asiwaju, and the relationship between them is excellent. All those that are putting those rumors are wishing that would happen. It happened.
Regarding the 2023 presidential election and some opinion polls put together Peter Obi of the Labour Party ahead of others, how will you rate the chances of your party's candidates in the face of this?
Opinion polls are distorted. Look, data analytics is one area that I'm in love with. When I was a student at the Kennedy School of Government, I was a teaching assistant for statistics. So I understand these things. I'm not talking as a politician or as a layman. I understand these things. The most important thing in looking at any opinion poll is the sample followed by the methodology. Okay? When your sample, when you have about 100 million registered voters and you are sampling 2,000 registered voters or 300 registered voters, I'm sorry, your results from day one are unreliable. They will have very high margins of error. And most of these polls are like that. What about methodology? Most of these polls, like the Bloomberg one, the ANAP one, the Okonjo Iweala one, all used telephone. What percentage of the INEC voters register contains people whose phone numbers are in INEC's records? We have found out 31%. So from the beginning, you are starting with only 31% of the total sample of voters. So if you pick your sample out of that 31%, from day one, your results are dead on arrival. Okay? So I can take each and every one of these polls and deconstruct them because I understand what is sampling, I understand methodology, and those polls are a joke, with the greatest respect. Okay? We have done a poll.
Don't be to be governor. Can you prove your statement? Yes. Rufai was just saying and talking and on channels yesterday. But I could ask myself, who be these people when they talk about? If you say there are people mention their name. Are they not APC members? Yes. This is a kind of confusion that these people are trying to bring into Nigeria. Yeah, there's no doubt that APC have nothing to offer Nigerians, and some people are still blind to seeing this. Yes, some people are still blind because I cannot see myself the way I am now. See myself supporting evil, like evil agendas. Okay, let's just start from the Muslim tickets. Number 1. Number 2, age. Number 3, these people are fraudulent. And I don't understand how waiting now want more could they tell now before I go no say these people have the worst, as in the worst of interest. Like they know I want to put some English won't kill me. What is this? It's high time we vote for integrity, competency, accountability, credibility, honesty. Vote for a character that you can trust. Vote Peter Obi and Su Baba Medati. Please and please, if you are standing for the truth, you are actually representing your family. That shows that your family, you and your family, you people are truthful. That's the China saying, which means the word is enough for the wise. As youths of a great country, you own this country. Stand up on your feet and take back your country. Vote Peter Obi and Suf Baba Medati. Vote Papa, Mama, and Pekin. Very simple. What a conformness and oh God. I beg. You should go follow up on and subscribe to my YouTube channel, MC Public Figure, and remain blessed. Thank you.